Coming up, we're going to dive into why 50% of new businesses fail in the first 5 years. And then high inflation. It's actually changing the way Americans are thinking and acting about retirement. We'll break it down next. I'm here to help you win at work. My name's Ken. This is the Ken Coleman Show. Let's dive in. So 70% of Americans would like to be self-employed, but only 6% are. Fascinating stuff. This from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. We've talked about this a lot, and I like talking about it because when you see a huge amount of people want something, but very few actually get it, this is a gap we need to look at. And so let's dive in here. So let's first look at why so many businesses fail. And again, we're going to come at this from the solopreneur standpoint, but it cuts across people that are saying, okay, maybe I'm starting with 2 or 3 employees. Maybe I've gone out and gotten a small business loan and I've got enough, this is happening, right? So it doesn't always mean solopreneur. But we're going to look at it from this standpoint because whether you're a solopreneur or not, the entrepreneur who starts something, it's all on their shoulders. So why do 50% of new businesses, and these are small businesses, why do they fail in the first 5 years? So we're going to break this down. Let's just kind of walk through briefly some of the big reasons, and then we'll dive in a little deeper. One would be pricing. All right? They'll start something, and it's either a product or service. That's all it is. There's no other ideas outside of a product or a service. And so they start, and they don't price properly. They just don't price it properly. Maybe they price it too high. Maybe they price it too low. They price it too high. We don't get customers. We don't get purchases. Price it too low. There's not enough margin. And that leads to one of the other big issues, cost. It just costs too much to run the business, and they can't keep it going. Next, poor marketing or poor word of mouth. In other words, these businesses don't get in front of enough of the customer that they need to get the purchase to be successful. One of the reasons for that could be a lack of the market need. It could be a good idea on paper, but not a good idea on the street. That's how I would describe that. Great idea here. Maybe it's worked somewhere else, but in your particular zip code, if we were to make it really, really local, which you should, by the way, if there's not a market need, there's not a desire for your product or service, you will fail. And then, this is a bit of a bucket here, instead of just one item, but the mindset. So let's start here with mindset. It's really hard to start a business. It's really hard to grow a business. It is really hard to sustain a business. So let's just start there, because I think what's going on here when we see the numbers of 70% of Americans would like to be self-employed, but only 6 are, there's a lot of factors as to why there's this massive gap. But one of the reasons is people kind of go, I want this, but then they look into it and they go, this is freaking hard. This is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. And I point that out to inform and encourage at the same time. Number one, if you're listening to me right now and you're watching me and you're one of the 70% of Americans who said, I'd like to be self-employed, and you don't realize how hard it is, can I be the first to say, this will be the hardest thing you ever do in your life except for parenting. And that's just where I'm at right now. I'm in the middle of raising 3 teens. It's the hardest freaking thing I've ever done in my life. I'd rather start a business. I'd rather start 2 businesses than raise teenagers right now. Just being honest. All right. Y'all pray for me. All right. They're good kids, but it's just hard. And every parent that is either parenting teens or has parented teens is going, amen, brother, you're right. Outside of parenting children in general, forget the teen, but parenting children is hard. Parenting teens is next level. Outside of that, starting, growing, sustaining your own business is the hardest thing you'll ever do. It's just hard. So let me start by saying it's hard. Is it doable? Yes. Is it always going to be hard? Yes. These people who say, by the way, in the 70% of people who say they want to work for themselves, a good portion of the 70%, we don't know the numbers, but I'm telling you right now, I've been around long enough to know that a good portion of the 70% of people are going, I just want to work for me. I mean, I'm just tired of working for the man. Okay, great. Guess what? You may work for a pinhead of a boss. There's a lot of pinheaded leaders out there. I'll give you that. But no matter how pinheaded they are, if you get free from the pinhead boss and then you're working for you, you're going to be the hardest boss you've ever worked for. So no matter how much you've been abused or taken for granted or talked down to, when you go work for yourself, I got news for you. You're really not going to like your boss sometimes. and so I'm trying to keep it real. Now, I'm still in this mindset of the entrepreneur bucket. And now we dive into the pieces. This is about hiring. You go from the solopreneur to the first hire. Holy smokes, what a big decision that is. This is your baby. You birth the baby. You bathe the baby. You change the baby's diapers. You're not just going to hand that baby over to anybody. And when you as the solopreneur, when you make that first hire, it is going to be really, really hard. So the hiring and then the delegation piece that comes with the hire. And then, there's the budget and there's paying the bills and the time management because you're the chief everything officer, right? So these are the big factors. And you get some people that they got into it only for the freedom and the autonomy piece that I was talking about, escaping the pinhead of your past, right? And I'm going to tell you, if you aren't starting a business for a far deeper personal reason than escaping the pinhead of your past, you will not have the mindset that it takes to stay the course. The reason the numbers are so stark, 2 out of 3 businesses with employees last 2 years, 50% of businesses fail in the first 5 years is because of this mindset issue. People just go, forget it. I'm folding up. It's not worth it. Now, I'm not saying that some of these decisions aren't the right decisions to say, this is not for me. I'm a guy that believes in quitting the wrong things, not just going, I'm going down with the ship, This isn't like the string group on the Titanic, remember, where they know they're drowning? It's the most ridiculous scene in any movie I've ever seen in my life because there's zero chance that happened. For the record, can I just go rabbit trail for a second? There's zero chance that the 4-member string quartet on the Titanic kept their bow ties on and just were like, as they drowned. Zero chance that happened, by the way. The scene drives me crazy. Like it's this honorable thing. That's stupid. If I'd have been on that ship, I'd have looked at all 4 of those guys and said, see if that violin floats and jump in the water, you morons. There's no honor in going down with the ship. So I say that to say, listen, if you're in this stage where you're deciding whether or not to stay in the solopreneur or this very, very small business and things just aren't working and you realize there's multiple factors as to why you should quit and you've got the right emotion going on here. We're not just quitting because we can't handle it anymore, but we've now realized I'm not good at this or this was the wrong business in the wrong market. There's no honor in just crashing the plane or going down with the ship. Get out. All right. Now, outside of that, so many people just go, I can't do this anymore. And they just go, I'm out. And so that's what's going on. So you've got to have the right mindset. Now, there's an article that we're going to share in the show notes today that I think is really valuable. And I'm going to go through this very, very quickly. EntreLeadership is our leadership division here at Ramsey Solutions, and it is focused on business owners. That is their primary focus, and they're really good at it. I get to speak for them at their conferences. I hosted the podcast for years. So EntreLeadership has got a wonderful article that we're going to share in the show notes, and I want you to read it because it's got a great amount of solutions, and it's going to lead you on a trail if you're in this boat where you're going, I want to do it, or I've just started it, or I'm in it for a while and I don't want to quit. I want to win. And so there are 5 stages of business, and the article is the 5 stages of business. Again, we will put it in the show notes. I really want you to read it. It's good stuff. but I'm just going to give you the 5 stages really quick. The treadmill operator, the pathfinder, the trailblazer, the peak performer, and the legacy builder. Quick description on these, and then you can read the article. The treadmill operator. This is, you're just getting started. You're the chief everything officer. You're literally doing everything because of the necessity. You're working all day long, all night. If it's not doing the thing, you're doing the paperwork for the thing. If you're not doing the thing, you're ordering stuff for the thing. You get it. Next, the pathfinder. This is where you're running your business. You've got some people now, maybe 1 or 2 people, and it feels like now you're just dealing with so much more people stuff than you dealt with when you were the chief everything officer. It feels like whack-a-mole. Okay? Third is the trailblazer. This is where you're moving fast. Things are actually starting to work, and it's growing. You could see, but now it's just, I've created enough success that I'm in reactive mode as opposed to proactive mode. Okay. 4 is the peak performer. This is where you're really, really winning. Things are going great. You've got some wind at your sails. And if you're not careful, you can go on autopilot and kind of get complacent. And you really need to think about, how am I disrupting my success in order to stay ready for the challenges of the marketplace? I got to be still proactive here. And then finally, the legacy builder. This is, you've won big, and now you're in the season of life where you're thinking about, how do I pass the baton? So those are the 5 stages of business, and it'll really help you. It's an article that we will put in the show notes, and I highly recommend you read it because it's going to help you stay the course and win. All right, don't move. We'll be right back. Hey folks, I want to tell you about Aiden. He started at Bethel Tech 2 weeks after graduating high school, and less than a year later, he's 19 and working as a full-stack software developer. He loved the idea of being able to work at his own pace, but what he really thought was cool was Bethel Tech's faith-based learning environment and being with classmates who had a similar worldview. Now, if this is you, or if you have a son or a daughter that's looking for the next step out of high school, and they may be tech-minded, at least interested, you need to talk to Bethel Tech. Listen to this. Fortune Magazine named them as a top 10 best UX UI bootcamp for 2024. And right now, they're offering you 10% off because you listen and watch The Ken Coleman Show. They also allow you to pay cash, and I know you'll like that. Go to betheltech.net/Ken Coleman for details. Terms and conditions apply. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show. Okay, I got to give my team some great credit here, and I've said many times I'm a man of the people, and if I say that I'm a man of the people, that means I've got to be honest with you. So during the commercial break, I was ranting. I went off on a rabbit trail last segment about the supposed 4 musicians on the Titanic that went down with a ship, and now my crack production team has fact-checked me, and I'm now fact-checking myself. There's a young lady in the lobby who's also saying, I knew that you were wrong. I said that there's no way these musicians were playing as the ship sank. Well, turns out it was not a quartet. It was 8 people. And they were playing as the ship began to sink. All right. But I'm not completely wrong. All right. So I'm going to tell you where I was wrong and where I was right. This is fantastic. I can't wait to see what the young lady in the lobby thinks. So it was 8. That's where I was wrong. And they were playing to help calm the passengers because they were starting to panic, as any normal person would. Now, there are no reports that they actually were playing as the boat finally dipped into the water. So I'm half right on that one. But I want to point out where I'm completely right. Are you saying they were playing as they went into the water? There's no proof of that. No. All right, so here's my point. I don't care if the captain of the ship told me that I was supposed to play my stringed instrument as the ship were going down or not, because there's no amount of classical music that's going to keep people from freaking out when the boat's sinking in the icy waters. That's stupid leadership and stupid followership. Just want to put that to bed. That's ridiculous. I'd be looking for something that floated. And if they wanted me to sing while I was floating to calm people, come on, this is ridiculous. Anyway, thank you, team, for fact-checking me. I need to always put out the facts. Does that feel better to you? No? She's still holding me to it. This is a lot of fun. I love it. Love the Gen Z. Okay, let's get to the story here. Very interesting story. High inflation. This is a money story because we can't talk about winning at work and not talk about money. Here's the headline. Fox Business: high inflation is changing the way Americans retire. More than 6 in 10 investors said their expectations for retirement have changed significantly in the last 5 years, while 50% said their dreams for retirement have been delayed, altered, or even canceled as a result of the last 5 years. Quick snapshot on inflation. Inflation did reach a peak of 9.1% in June of 2022. It has since dropped, but still well above the Federal Reserve's 2% goal. In fact, it started to bump back up again. 38% of investors believe in having a retirement savings target. That's pretty pathetic. That means that only 38% of Americans go, I think I should probably have a number in mind that I should try to reach, which means a plan is involved. That's fascinating to me. 42% said the magic number needed to retire comfortably was between $1 million and $2 million. I don't disagree with that. And 18% pegged the figure at more than $2 million. An additional 19% of people said they will retire later than planned because of inflation. Okay, so that's where we sit. Now, I was actually recently on Fox Business, the Big Money Show, and I was asked this very question related to parents saying, parents of children under the age of 18 saying they are less capable to provide for their family than they were a few years ago. So, different demographic, same issue. Let's talk about inflation. What do we do when inflationary pressures that we have zero control over begin to affect our daily, weekly, monthly, yearly budgets? What do we do? I was asked by the anchors, what does one do? Okay, so let's understand that we cannot control Congress. We can't control the Fed. We can't control the presidential policy that's going on. We cannot control any of those things. You can vote, but you cannot control it. So here we sit. What has been one of the highest spiked inflationary periods in American economic history, and looked like it was going to go down. Now it's starting to rise again. And we all know the cost of groceries, our utilities, gas, clothing, everything's going up. And we can't control what's causing it. So are we left to just scrape by? Do we just throw our hands in the air and credit card ourselves into oblivion? What do we do? So that was the question that was posed. So there's two simple responses to this. As we've said many times on all of our platforms at Ramsey Solutions, we focus on helping people control the controllables. So what can you control in a wild, wacky economy? Here's what you can control. You can control your outflow and you can control your inflow. Outflow is expenses. We say, Ken, I can't control the cost of gas. I agree. You say, Ken, I can't control the cost of my utilities. Okay, I get that. I can't control the cost of groceries. I get that. But when you look at those basic fundamentals, while you cannot control those expenses, you can control how you interact with those expenses. You really can. And to the extent that you can in those areas, groceries, you get more disciplined about what you're doing there. You make it go a little extra. You do what people do. They cut, they get smart, and they expand all their resources. Okay? We understand that. But let's just talk about the things that we can control. We can control our other outflow. You can cut a lot of stuff. And once you've cut everything that you can cut outside of the four walls, which are our utilities, our transportation, our food, and clothing. Now you've truly cut and you've truly become disciplined. Now it's about, I've got to go get more income. And here's what's happening right now. And these retirees or people that are thinking about retiring, you have an opportunity to go make more money right now. The gig economy is exploding. This is part-time, contract labor work, Ubers, things of that nature. You don't have to go drive your car all over the place. It's not your only option. The point is that the thing that you can control is I can go make more money. I can find ways to work to make money. I just met a guy in New York the other day who during the pandemic, when his whole transportation company shut down, he started buying snow plows, fixing them up, and reselling them. He made more money during the pandemic doing that than he ever did running his transportation company. Where there's a will, there's a way. And what I'm telling you is if you're in this bucket that we've just discussed, you have time. And if you've got time, you can find a way to make some money. And so get after it. Start bringing in more income every way you can. Go to RamseySolutions.com, go to a SmartVestor Pro, and figure out how you can increase your retirement now. Welcome back to the Ken Coleman Show, helping you win in your work life so you're winning in your personal life. Let's go to Boston, Massachusetts. Sean is waiting for us there. Sean, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
How's it going? Thank you for taking my call.
I'm doing great, bro. What's happening?
Yeah, so I took your assessment and I read the new book, Find the Work You're Wired to Do. It was a really great book.
Thank you.
But I've really been struggling to figure out what my next steps are.
Okay.
Out of high school, I took welding in high school, and I've been at a welding job for 3 years now, and it's just the exact opposite of who I am. The assessment really helped me figure out that I'm really into communication and helping people, and my mission was influence, and I'm just in a job that's just such the exact opposite, and it's been so tough to figure out,
soul-sucking.
Where to go.
All right. So you took the assessment and you read the book. Did you read through the exercises that I laid out in the book to begin to ideate or to imagine specific work now that you know your results?
I did, yeah.
And no ideas came to you at all, just a blank slate.
So, well, the couple ideas that I've had was, so me and my fiance were really into health and nutrition. So a gym and coaching is definitely going to be in our future. I was also looking into financial coach master training that I know Ramsey provides because I'm really on the Ramsey plan and I love all that. And I would love to help people do that as well.
Yeah. So as you walk through as you walk through the exercises in the book, you said you read it, so I'm going to put you on the spot, and not to shame you, but when you start thinking about the people you most want to help, what's the answer that comes to your mind? Be specific.
That's what's been really tough is I don't know if exactly who it is that I want to help. If it's people. That,
no, I disagree. I disagree. I think you have several ideas. I think you've got a list of people you want to help. You're just struggling to pick the one group. That's what I think's happening. Am I right?
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, okay, great. Well, that's easy to work with, Sean. Right? This is all about this. This is all about. You know what this is? This is like getting a gift card to some store, and you wanted a version of a thing, and you get to the store and they got 3 versions of the thing, and you're going, well, I like this one, I like this one, I like this. Is that about right?
A little bit.
Yeah.
And it's that, and it's also, figuring out my next step to getting out of 100%. This job where I'm at. And,
I get it. First of all, we got to know our direction, and then we figure out the path. But what's happening is you're simultaneously kind of going back and forth on the direction, and then you're going, oh gosh, then there's the path. And you're thinking about the path until we don't need to think about the path. We got to think about the direction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Totally.
All right, let's have some fun. Can we have some fun?
Yeah.
All right. I want you to just list out for me in your words the 2 or 3 or 4 different types of people that popped up in your mind when you started thinking, who do I really want to help? Just give me the name. Describe the people.
I think the biggest, 2 or 3 would be, of course, like I said before, health and nutrition.
So people that have health and nutrition problems. All right. Because we always want to think about the problem. All right. What else?
Also, like I said, financial. I mean, I'm really on the Ramsey plan. I love helping people that way as well.
All right, great. That's 2.
And,
give me another one.
Even counseling, like helping people with their emotional health.
Okay.
All 3 have been huge for me.
Okay, great. So what we've identified is you would be pretty fulfilled if we did let's say we did a 90-day experiment with you. The first 30 days, you worked with people that had health and nutrition issues. So we're talking about physical fitness and eating right. Am I correct?
Definitely.
All right. And then the next 30 days, you coach people that were in debt and just had no financial discipline. And then the third 30 days, you help people with their mental health. Am I getting this right? The 3 groups of people. Okay. And so let's just have some fun here. Let's say that you were successful because you've got the talent, and we're going to go through that in a second, to help all 3 groups of people, and it went well. But you could only choose one of those coming out of the 90 days, knowing that you would be successful in all 3, but you could only choose one of them. Which one would you choose? Your brain's already told you. Your brain already told you. That's why you're laughing, because when I walked you through that, your brain selected one of the 3. Which one did it select? Trust me on this process. Which one?
Yeah, I think it's fitness.
I think so too. Do you know why I know it's fitness?
Why?
Psychology 101. It was the first thing you started talking about.
Yeah.
It's the one you enjoy the most. Now listen, Sean, there's no reason that you can't be very successful in the physical coaching, nutrition, own a gym one day, and still maybe do some FPU classes at your place. Or you could do some coaching on the side. Maybe you do it through your church or something like that. It's not like you're picking one of these and all of a sudden you don't care about people who have some mental health issues. Here's another idea. There's nothing saying, Sean, that you're not coaching some guy down the road and he's lifting and you're getting his health in a good place and he's hanging out with you for 90 minutes at a time. And one day, Sean, because he trusts you and you're helping him get healthy physically, he starts telling you about something that happened to him years ago.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're not a therapist, but you have a heart for that. And you go, I think you should see a therapist. Let me tell you about this guy. Maybe give him John Deloney's book, right? I don't know. Point is, it doesn't mean that you all of a sudden turn this antenna off for these other people that you care about. Does that help you a little bit?
Definitely. And I think it was, kind of a confidence thing too, because just looking at the path of fitness or personal training has been hard.
What's been hard about that for you?
Just looking at, like you say, getting qualified, what courses I have to take, or also like building and finding clients and building,
okay.
Which
let's
would
talk.
Probably be a business.
All right, let's get. Can I coach you really practically about what I think you need to do next? You ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Number 1, how much do you make as a welder?
Like take home like 39, 43 gross maybe.
Okay. First things first, you're not making enough money as a welder. Okay.
No, not at all.
I know it's soul sucking in some sense for you, but now welding is a great trade for you that we're going to start to think of from this day forward as nothing more than a day job that's going to help you get to this dream job. You understand?
Yeah.
So in Boston, Massachusetts, I want you to do this research over the next week. I want you to find all of the potential welding gigs that you're qualified for or could quickly get qualified for and cheaply get qualified for to where you're doubling or maybe tripling your income. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Potentially.
Yeah.
It's not what I expected.
Okay, but wait. You haven't even looked. So I want you looking at the welding landscape. How can I double my income? By the way, maybe not just working for somebody else, but also potentially doing stuff on your own on the side. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Totally. I was just I think looking more toward obviously getting out of it.
I know you're looking to get out of it, but we got to find out, first of all, where we can make the most money so that we can pay for the qualifications necessary to become a fitness coach or nutritionist as well. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
I want you to be making more money. Do you have any debt?
No, not at all.
Okay, great. So I'm just saying welding right now gives you the quickest chance to make more money. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, now, second, do I want to be a nutritionist? What's the certification for that? Do I need a college degree? Probably not. If I want to be a licensed personal trainer, what's the certification for both? Which one do I enjoy doing more? Which one will help me make more money? Will they both? If it's going to cost me X amount of dollars to be a physical trainer and X amount of dollars to be a nutritionist, now I lay both of those out and I go, which one do I want to tack first? I need to make more money as a welder so I can pay for those things. Still making sense, Sean?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, baby. Now we're making progress, right?
Totally.
Which means we're not feeling soul sucked at the welding job because we go, man, this is helping me. I'm making moves. I'm going to be out of here sooner rather than later, right?
Yeah.
That's the process. So then ask yourself, do the research. Would it be a better idea to go work for a gym, get paid well? All right, maybe I'm doing some welding on the side. I'm doubling my income. I'm saving up to take the nutritionist. I don't know. You're going to have to figure all this out. But the point is, you want to help people with their physical fitness, and that is not just working out, it's also eating right. So what's the best combo? What's the path to one day you owning your own gym and not being in debt? That's what you have to figure out. And you're smart enough to do that, yes or no?
I think so.
No, come on, Sean. You're absolutely smart enough to do that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. Here are the 4 questions you've got to ask. What do I need to learn? That's the education question. Second question, what do I need to do? That's the experience question. Third, what's it going to cost me? That's the financial question. And fourth, how long is it going to take? That's the expectation question. That's how you build a plan to move from being a welder to becoming that life, health, nutrition coach who works for himself. Sean, you got this. I'm cheering you on.
Thanks for listening to The Ken Coleman Show. For more, you can find the show on demand wherever you listen to podcasts and watch the show on YouTube. You can also find Ken across all social media by following @Ken Coleman.